competencies in social emotional learning. And I'm going to be learning about those 5 competencies because remember I told you I found this section on social emotional learning. I was like, I didn't notice last year or this year. And I was like, oh, this is like really what is going to help me.
Yes.
This section. So what I'm actually going to do is there's this big chart that I printed and I have on my wall, and it shows the 5 competencies and the core like values of basically like the premise is that you really can't learn unless you have all 5 of these things like stabilized.
Yeah, met.
And so there's some cool little things that they have on the websites and some of the videos, like doing check-ins, like before you get started. And there's things like little tools that you can do to help kind of see where you're at before you start your lesson.
Yeah.
But my lesson I'm going to do is actually teaching what these 5 things are and how they impact them. Because I think it's, from my perspective, it's like if I know it and I'm trying to teach them this way, if they don't understand where I'm coming from, then it might not make as much sense to them. So,
In terms of like your social emotional well-being?
No, not mine personally, but
Like why you're giving the lesson?
Understanding their own. And being, as these kids, especially the older ones, the more that they're aware of these things, I think it's going to help prepare them for next.
Yeah.
So I thought, like, okay, why should I just learn it and know it and then incorporate it in my lesson? So I'm going to do a lesson teaching the 5 competencies.
You said you already have it on a poster in the classroom?
Yeah.
Have you gone over it at all with them yet?
I haven't even broached it because I wanted to wait to see when our scheduling was.
Yeah.
Because we've been busy with, we're doing, with my older guys where I think that's where I'm going to have you come. We're doing Great Gatsby and Study Sync. And they're liking it. We're watching the new movie, the one with
Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's cool how they have like Jay-Z and Beyonce music. Like, but it works. Like I remember seeing the trailer and I'm like, that's weird, but it works.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It is. Have you watched the movie yet? Like the whole thing before?
I watched like 20 minutes of it just to make sure it was like
good for them.
Appropriate.
Yeah.
You know? And so I'm watching it with them for the first time. So we watched most of it on the block day the other day, and then we're going to finish it today. And then we're gonna get into the Gatsby section of Study Sync.
Got it.
So.
And so during that, you want to do a pre-assessment with them, sort of like go over these 5 core competencies and then go into the lesson?
Yeah. So I was just going to wait to see when you and I were scheduling that. And
Yeah.
go. I haven't even talked to them about it yet.
Okay.
So,
And what periods do you have them? Period?
3rd.
All right. Do you want to do it next week?
Sure.
Okay. When is best for you?
We can do it on the block day. And I don't do 2 hours with them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's gonna probably be the part that for that part, 30 to 40 minutes probably.
Okay. At like the beginning of the period?
Yeah, so on block days we do the announcements and then so probably like 10 or 15 minutes after it starts.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'll check in with Alex. I don't think that should be a problem though. Okay. I'll let her know.
Okay. Yeah, so you wouldn't have to be there the whole time. They'll have some other stuff that they'll be doing that I don't do a 2-hour lesson.
What are some of the outcomes that you're looking for? And what do you want me looking for?
I want you looking for like if I'm engaging with and getting engagement from everyone. I know like there's typically with that group, they're pretty responsive. Like I'll ask questions, but I'll tend to get like the same 3 people like that are interacting.
Yeah.
And I wanna make sure that I'm getting her point of view and check for understanding for these folks.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. That's one part to your question. The second part is what I want them to get is an understanding of what each of these competencies are and how they could how knowing these could help them be a better learner, like their own awareness of them.
Yeah.
And then I think what like the exit ticket is probably going to be is like, what is yours of these 5? What area do you feel like is your biggest strength and why? And then what is maybe one that you, I don't want to say your least, but the
Area for improvement.
area of improvement thing.
Yeah.
And then maybe one goal to work on that area.
And when you say exit ticket, do you mean literally before they leave for the day or before you can start on the Great Gatsby?
Oh no, I mean, I'm talking about for that 5 competency lesson, where just the knowledge of the overview for that lesson. Yeah,
So on Tuesday, are you planning on starting with the 5 competencies and then moving into the Great Gatsby, or are you just saying that's sort of the background, what you guys have been learning?
yeah,
Got
that's just I'm going to tie in those competencies moving forward into inquiry 3.
I see.
But this one is just me and them understanding what they are.
Got
so
it.
we're not. That's the. We're just getting a
That's the
baseline
lesson.
understanding of what they are.
Yeah.
And then for inquiry 3, I'm going to do a lesson in something totally different, but incorporate the SELs.
Nice. Have they asked about that poster that you have up at all? I think they've noticed it.
One kid did, and I just kind of told them what it was about, and then I said like in the next week or 2, we're gonna kind of do a lesson on what these all are. But I have so many things on my wall that they may have not noticed it or not.
Yeah. Well, it's good to just kind of have it in the background for them to hopefully glance.
That's why I just put it up the other day.
Yeah. No,
So,
smart.
yeah, so that, I feel like I have a good grasp to complete inquiry 2, and our goal was to have that done before the Christmas break, so I think we're on track.
Yeah, I think so too. When you say the exit ticket, sort of asking for the strength and then like their area of growth, what also, like, how are you going to continue that? Because you said you're then going to continue it into the next lesson. So I kind of want to hear more about that.
So let's say next month I'm doing a lesson on, a 3-paragraph essay. I'm gonna, do it. I don't know. Sometimes I give them when I do 3-paragraph essays at least once a quarter, and I give them 3 choices and like an intro, or I let them choose a topic of their own. It just can't be the same one they chose before. Because for some people, they just want to do creative writing and they have their own thing.
Yeah.
But some people get stuck, so I give them 3 prompts to choose from. So my thought process was, okay, we have 3-paragraph essay that we're going to do. Let's go through these 5 areas of competencies and do a check, like a check-in, a little checklist of where I am before I even get started. And then we're going to compare that to last quarter's essay and see how that helped
Yeah.
or didn't help.
Yeah.
if it was same.
Yeah. So the self-awareness, and then did it affect your
Yeah.
work that you produced?
So rather than just, so the concept like I've been reading on is getting that first before you start working can be very beneficial for especially students in my population.
Yeah.
So I want to see if taking that time to reflect on these things before we even get started with the work, and then they're going to reflect on that experience, how that was it beneficial, did it do nothing, did it help them feel calm?
Yeah, like regulate it all.
Just like check in, and then maybe, see how that affected their writing process.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's not particularly for the writing process, though, right? It's just in general.
yeah, it could be any assignment, but I want it to be something that's like has a pretty high point value for them,
Mm-hmm.
and generally something that gives a lot of them some anxiety to begin with.
Yeah.
So if I just did it for like something that they're very comfortable with, I don't know if it would have as much impact. And almost all of them, I wouldn't say they hate to do the 3-paragraph essay, but they've
got anxiety around it, or yeah.
Yeah.
Would there be any value in introducing it with like a low stakes assignment first? Or do you think they're going to like tie this with high stakes? Do you know what I mean? If they're going to make that association?
Maybe that's a good point. So
like it's practice a few times.
yeah, so maybe what I'll do is an easier one to do first would be we do the Ren Learn reading every month.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also something that they don't love, but they don't seem that they know that it. So the way that I grade that assignment is we do Ren Learn reading every month.
Mm-hmm.
And it's worth a lot of points, but the only thing that I grade them on is that they did at least 1/10 of a grade level better than last month.
Oh, wow.
That's how they get an A.
Yeah.
So if they're at a 4.6, they have to get a 4.7.
Yeah.
And then they get full credit.
Right.
So it's sort of my carrot of just getting them to try.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise I've gotten flat lines or even dips sometimes.
Right.
And then when I run the report, if they did get a dip, I always check in with them and just kind of say, hey, were you maybe kind of a odd space yesterday when we did this?
Right.
I can put the grade in as it is, or you can take it tomorrow, and I'll just put that one in.
Right.
So I always let them do that.
Yeah.
So that, like hearing you ask that, it might be a good idea to try that to see if that kind of helped them, because it's a little less.
Yeah, it's lower stakes.
Yeah.
And less stress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I'll try that first for December, and then we'll try it on the.
Do you have those